Your church is keeping you single. Let's talk about it. And let's talk about what you can do about it. I'm speaking to this topic from a perspective of someone who has attended multi ethnic and black churches. What you may find is even if you don't go to a black or a multi ethnic church, the insights that I have may resonate with what you have seen in your life. The black church is excellent at bringing women in. They provide messages that resonate with what a woman experiences living in these modern times. They also provide a program that is acceptable and is pleasing to the eye and to the ear and just to the senses of what a woman expects when she goes to church on Sunday or Saturday, whenever she goes to church. The church also teaches tithing. So whatever percentage of the money that the woman makes, they're encouraged to give their portion, their percentage to support the church. For single women who believe in God, they believe in love, they want to find, nurture, and maintain the type of love that is going to last longer than a lifetime. A lot of women are raised to look at church or to attend church and to be a part of the community. Don't forsake the assembling of yourselves together. And the church guilts women to come to church using, typically they use emotion, typically they use guilt. But what I have an issue with, and which is why I believe the first reason why I believe that our black churches keep our women single is because once they get into church, they don't empower the woman or the women that attend to become part of the ministry. So they bring them in, come on into church, become a part of the community, become a part of the church group, but they're essentially turned into consumers. They're turned into assets. They're turned into people who donate money to the church, and the church will do whatever they need to do in order to retain them and to keep them engaged, whether it's Bible studies or various community events. But as far as empowering women to become part of the ministry and to speak what is in their heart and what's in their mind and what God has put in their spirit, there's not a lot of churches that are doing that. And so because women who are part of church communities, because they are not empowered spiritually, they're unable to let their light shine when they leave the church. If you take a moment and just think about the effect that going to church has on our women, what does going to church have on you as a person? What skills do you learn when you go to church? What characteristics and traits do you have you developed in the last year that you've been going to church? If you're a woman and you make an honest assessment of the experiences and the things that you've learned while you're going to church, you may say, you know what, I've learned different stories in the Bible. I've been reminded of the lessons that I've learned when I was a child. But if you break church down and you break the Bible down, you'll see that you should be expecting much more. Women should expect much more when they're going to church. God is love. We hear that. We hear that all the time. God is love. So when you go to church, and if you're going to a church that is based on God, you would expect to learn more about God when you go to church. You would expect while you're going to church that you become better at love. There's all different types of love. You'd be better at the type of love that you have for the stranger that you might meet on the street. You'd get better at the love that you have for your job and your career and your contribution to society. By going to church, you would also get better at the type of love that you have for your friends and for your family members. By going to church, you'd also get better at the love that you have for your romantic interests, and you'd get better at creating an environment where physical, emotional, and spiritual and physical intimacy can thrive. The problem is many women who are very well meaning, they're going to church, they're giving their tithes, they're engaging in the message, and they're a part of the community. And after that experience, after that hour or 2 hours or however long that of time they invest in going to church, they don't really get the the return on their investment that they should be receiving. I've met people who have gone to church 20, 30, 40. When I was a child, 60 years. They've been in the same church for 60 years. They were raised in it. They lived their whole life in it. And at the end of their life, they're an elder. Now they're a senior. And I've met women who have never been married, even though they're a part of a church that is supposedly teaching love, that is supposedly teaching a doctrine based on God. And it's so unfortunate. It's so unfortunate because there's so much potential in the churches that we have. And unfortunately, so many churches are not meeting that potential. So if you're a woman and you're well meaning and you believe in love, you want to find, nurture, and maintain the type of love that is going to last longer than a lifetime, you decide to join a church community. You decide to learn about your religion and to build up your spiritual strength and your spiritual power. Once they get you into church and they begin to teach you what it means to be a faithful person, what it means to be a follower of Christ, they teach you all of these things. Unfortunately, they're not teaching you things to empower you. They're teaching you, the majority of the things that they're teaching you are to restrict you. Don't wear this. Don't go there. Don't go here. Don't say this. They're teaching you a lot of things to constrain you. So if you think about your femininity, if you think about who you are in your essence as a woman, if you think about the power that you have in the fact that you are a woman and you can bring life into this world, if you think about your ability to nurture things, if you think about your ability to maintain things, if you think about your ability to organize and to manage things, all of those things, all those skills that you have, all the talents that you've been born with, a lot of times you might go to church and you'll be able to use none of them because somehow, some way, the politics in the church do not empower you as a woman to become an active member of the church. So if you're a single woman and you want to find, nurture, and maintain the type of love that is going to last longer than a lifetime, and you're attracted to men, don't you think that if you were empowered as a woman and you're part of the church community, don't you think that you would create programs that allow men that are single, bachelors, right? Don't you think that you would create programs not just for the women and to build a sisterhood, but don't you think that you would invest in the programs that would allow men to be a part of your community, to be a part of the church? My issue with multi ethnic and black churches is they do not do enough to empower women to become part of the ministry. There's not enough programs that are being administered by women. There's not enough programs that are being planned by women. There's not enough programs and investments that are being made by women. There's not enough voices for women. They're not empowered. And if you read the Bible, you kind of see why. The majority of the majority of these stories in the Bible are either led or acted out by a man. It's all written from a male's perspective. The majority of the stories from David, Daniel, Adam and Eve, like Job, Jesus, all his disciples, the majority of the stories, the man is featured. But you also have to look a little bit closer in the Bible because you have to realize who created or who wrote the Bible. There was a man. A lot of people are reading the King James Version or a derivative of the King James Version. So a man wrote this text based on what he heard from God, but he wrote it from a perspective of a man. And I'm sure he had a bias. All of us have biases. I believe that women are much more powerful than they are made out to be in the Bible. I believe that a woman has much more spiritual force than anyone really wants to talk about. This is why I think it's wrong that we see so many uh, male preachers and so many male pastors, and we don't see just as many female preachers and female pastors. I believe that the force that you have inside you as a single woman, the force that you have inside you can change the world. I believe that your ability to love, your ability to love yourself, your ability to love your family and your friends and your community, your ability to love your job, your career, your industry. I believe that your ability to love is a supernatural power that if you decide to use it, And if you are empowered to use it, you can change the world. But unfortunately, you're going to church and your churches are not giving you the opportunities to use the talent that you have inside you. And so typically women will go to church, they'll connect with each other, they'll connect in groups, but they leave feeling unfulfilled. You know you've checked the box, you know you've gone to church, you know you've heard a potentially motivating or inspiring word, but after that it's over. After that it's done. There's not enough there. There's not enough there in church to to speak to your natural ability as a woman, your natural role as a woman. So that's the first thing. The first reason why your church is keeping you single, if you're a woman, is because your church is not empowering you as a woman. And so when you leave church, you don't know how to love anymore. You're not better at creating intimacy. You're not better at creating physical or spiritual intimacy. You don't become better at pleasing the man that you want to spend the rest of your life with. Instead, you're taught things in church that allow you to please the man that is preaching to you on Sunday versus the man that is going to marry you and be with you for the rest of your life, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year for the rest of your life. The church that you're going to is not teaching you how to be a great wife. It's not teaching you how to be a great fiance. It's not teaching you how to be a great girlfriend. It's teaching you how to please the man that is preaching to you on Sunday so that you can come back week after week, month after month, year after year, and give your tithes. And it's unfortunate because I think women are being abused. They're being taken advantage of in church. And so many women who are going to church and have really good hearts, they're staying single because the church is letting them down. The second reason why your church is keeping you single, your church is not creating enough opportunities for men to become part of your church community. And so if you look around your church, whenever you go to church, count the number of single, eligible men. You will see that the women in church outnumber the men. I like to say the proof is in the pudding. No matter what I hear someone preach in the pulpit, no matter what I hear somebody preach online, the proof is in the pudding. If the majority of your audience is not men, or the majority of your audience is not equal mix of men and women, or if your majority of your audience is women, right? Depending on what your audience is, the mixture of your audience, that is who your message is for. So if you're a preacher, you're a pastor, and you look around your church and you find that the majority of your audience is mostly women, you know that you're speaking and you're preaching messages primarily for women. And same thing with men. I believe that our churches don't do a good enough job at making sure that they're delivering messages that resonate with men and women. Speaking of men, the men that are not in your church, the men that are not part of your church community, I'm talking about ambitious men, well-educated men, men who are about their business, men that are ambitious, men that have pride, men that have a self-esteem, men that are in shape, men that take care of their body. I'm talking about men that have self-discipline and self-control. I'm talking about men that think logically, men that are faithful, men that want to take care of their women, men that believe in romance. I'm talking about the men that are your eligible bachelors. If you ask them, if you get a chance to ask them why they're not going to a church or why they're not going to your church community, they'll tell you that when they go to church, they just don't feel comfortable. There's nothing in there for them. And why is that? See, the preacher that preaches to you on Sunday and is telling you what you should be doing and is reading the Bible and picking and choosing which scriptures they want to highlight, they're not preaching messages that resonate with masculinity. They're not preaching messages that resonate with the man that you want to marry and the man that you want to date. They're preaching messages for the women that are around you. When you think about what a man wants from church, a great church, I'm talking about a church that you would be proud to tell your coworkers that you're going to. A man wants a sense of belonging. A man wants a sense of purpose. With that sense of belonging and purpose, you get brotherhood. A man wants to be seen, wants to feel welcome. A man wants to become a part of an active community. They want to do something that they can be proud of. Unfortunately, so many churches are created or have been created, and it's unfortunate that they can preach okay messages. I'll just say they're okay. I haven't heard a lot of great messages in modern times. I mean, if you go back to like 1960s and you hear how Martin Luther King Jr. used to preach and Malcolm X used to preach and all these other preachers used to preach, there was a lot more passion. There was a lot more power. There was a lot more strength in the words that they were saying. But let me just say this: the messages that are being delivered, and the messages that are being pushed out there in modern church, they're not resonating with the men that you want to date. And when if you bring your man to church, like if you're dating a man and you bring him to church, he's going to sit next to you very politely and listen and tap his foot, and he's going to watch. But the majority of the churches are not offering a sense of identity. They're not offering a sense of belonging to your man. Men like to be part of things. We like to cheer for sports teams. We like that type of branding. We like to become a part of a group that means something. We like to be part of a church that has a sense of identity that builds up your self-esteem, that adds something to your life. We want to be part of an intelligent group of people, a creative group of people, a group of people that is pursuing excellence in everything that we do. We want to be a part of a group of people that believes in integrity and doing the right thing even when no one is watching. We want to be a part of a community that is selfless and that's not greedy. That's what we want as men. But if we go to church and we're sitting in your church and we're listening to the pastor and we look around and we see all the other men that are in the church, if they don't have a strong sense of identity, then we know that there is not a strong community for men. And if there's not a strong sense of identity and there's not a good community for men, then we know for sure there's not going to be a brotherhood. So if you tell me, hey, on Sunday or Saturday, whenever you're going to church, I'm going to go to this place. I'm going to listen to this person talk. I'm going to listen to these songs. I'm going to sit next to the girl that I like, that I'm dating. And after all of that is said and done, I'm not going to have an enhanced sense of identity. I'm not going to have an enhanced sense of community. I'm not going to have a sense of belonging. I'm going to say, well, wow, that was an experience. It was great, great thing to watch, great thing to listen to. But I'm not going to want to come back. I'm not going to want to tell my friends about this church because it doesn't have any sense of identity. They're not doing anything that makes me feel proud to say, hey, I went to that church. Think about our sports teams or think about the sports that we like to watch. If you're a Laker fan, I'm sure when the Lakers were winning championships, everyone wanted to say, hey, I'm a Laker fan. When the Patriots are winning championships, if you're a Patriot fan, you want to tell people, hey, I'm a Patriot fan. Did you see the Patriots game last night? But if we're going to a church and they don't have that winning personality, they don't have that winning spirit. If we're going to a church and there's no sense of identity, there's no sense of community, there's no sense of accomplishment that this church is promoting, then we don't want to be a part of it. We're winning in every single area of our life. We're winning at work. We're winning in our personal life. We have hobbies that we love. If there's not that championship spirit inside your church, we're not going to want to be involved with it. We just look around like these. I'm not going to say these guys are losers, but it's not speaking to my winning spirit. So a lot of men just won't go because there's no sense of identity. There's no sense of community. There's no sense of belonging. The type of men that you want to date, they're independent men. They're leaders. They like a sense of purpose. So if we go to church and sometimes we'll stop in every now and then to go to church and we find out that the church is not doing anything in the community. We find out that the church believes in the Most High God and the power of the Almighty. They're following Jesus Christ, and they believe that He walked around doing all these miracles, and He walked around making sure that society was better off the day that the day that He left it versus the day that He arrived. If you tell us all these stories about all these miracles in the Bible, and we sit in your church and there's no miracles happening, there's no progress being made in the community, there's no effort to uplift people in the community or move humanity forward. There's no effort to change the economy so that men, women, and children of every ethnicity can experience prosperity and live in harmony. There's no effort to to build industries. There's no effort to do any of that stuff on this earth to make everyone's life better. We're going to feel like there's no sense of purpose in your church. And we can tell, it takes one to know one. A lot of men the type of men that you want to date, they're independent, they're strong, they're providers, they're protectors. That's what we do. That's how we think. And we can listen to someone who is BSing, and we can tell, hey, that person's BSing me. That's what makes us so successful in our careers. We can go to church and hear somebody preach a message, and we can call out the person who doesn't mean it. We can call out the person who doesn't really believe it. We can call out the person who's just preaching just to deliver a message on Sunday so they can collect the money. We can call out someone who doesn't really believe. We can, when you have love inside your heart, when you have discernment, when you have power of the Spirit inside your heart and in your life, when you're living by faith and you're walking by faith and everything that you're doing is by faith, when you have active faith in your life, you can listen to a preacher stand up there and preach on Sunday and say, this person doesn't really believe what they're saying. And the majority of our churches, when a man walks in, a man who's about his business walks in, and he listens to the preacher preach, straight up, he looks at him and is like, hey, you might be big and bad up here in church preaching the message, but you don't talk like you're about that life. You're not really about that action. Like you're delivering the message. Okay, got it. My girl is here. She's going to church. She's listening to you talk. You're showing her different things and you're teaching her different things. But man to man, we don't really respect each other because I know for sure you don't really mean what you're saying. I know for sure you're really not about that life. So the man just says, it's just not for me. I don't want to rock the boat. This church just isn't for me, because I'm more of a man. I am more of a man of faith. I'm more of a believer. I'm more of a disciple of the person that you are following than you are, and you're the preacher. The difference between my faith and a lot of other people's faith, and I know guys feel the exact same way. When I wake up in the morning and I pray and I read my Bible and I do my religious practices and I take care of my spirit, I'm living it. I'm practicing it every single day. Some people, I'm not going to say all of them, but the majority of the people that I have met, that I've listened to the churches and I don't go back to the church, it's because the man that is preaching, I know for sure he does not believe what he's doing. And he's only delivering the message for Sunday. He's studied how to deliver a message on Sunday. And there's no real force, or there's no real power, there's no real strength. There's no real behind the message. You can tell when someone has done it and someone who hasn't. Just turn on a sports show. You can turn on a sports show and you can hear ESPN or whoever talk, and you can tell the analysts that have scored touchdowns and the ones who have never played a game in their entire life. And they've worked their way up through journalism. And now they're talking about sports, and they're talking about championships, and they're talking about touchdowns, they're talking about strategy and all this other stuff. And then you can turn on the TV and you can listen to the people who have already played. They speak differently. They talk differently about things. Their insights are different. It carries more weight. We're not saying that the people who have never played a game in their life, and I'm not saying that those people are not worth anything. I'm just saying men and women out there who have played professional sports and who are listening to an analyst talk and break down a game will understand what they're saying from an academic perspective, but it doesn't carry as much weight as someone who has already played. I haven't played professional sports, but I've served in the United States Air Force. And when I hear people talk about the military, and I hear them talk about what is happening in Iran, and when I hear them talk about what assets are moving and what bombs are being dropped and all this other stuff, I can hear when people are talking just from a perspective of a newscaster or a journalist, and it doesn't carry as much weight as when I hear someone speaking who has served 20, 30, however many years in the military, and now they're providing their insights based on their experience. That's exactly how it feels when I go to church and I hear a preacher talk about grace, and I hear a preacher talk about walking on water. I hear a preacher talk about the fruits of the spirit, and I look up there and I see a man that has not been tested. I see a man that doesn't talk with the fire that I need to see in someone who has experienced life, who has gone to the dark places and come out, who've gone to the lion's den and come back up. I haven't seen it. It's very rare. And that type of the lack of purpose that we see in the pulpit, it keeps men away. It keeps men away because the faith that is being taught in the pulpit isn't the type of faith that a lot of men are living with. Man, I'm talking about men of God. A lot of men of God have very strong faith, and it's much more powerful than the faith that you hear represented in the pulpit on Sunday. With the lack of purpose, churches keep men who have purpose away. I'll say that again. Your church is keeping you single because they are keeping men of purpose away, because your church has no purpose. Your church, there's a lot of problems in society right now. Your church could easily pursue one of the solutions to the problems that we are seeing in society. Your church could organize itself to make sure that no one goes hungry in your entire city. Your church could organize itself to make sure that no one is homeless in your entire city or in your entire state. Your church could organize itself to make sure that no child goes without a high quality education. Your church can organize itself so that you make sure that no one goes without health care in your city. Most churches are not organizing themselves like that. The tithes that you're paying are being used to pay the taxes and the bills and people's lifestyles. And they're not going into the community to uplift the community. Every piece of money that you spend on a tithe and every single ounce of charity that you give to your church should be going to uplift your community, so that over time the community in the church community actually gets better over time. The children get more education, they become more successful, the women get more fulfilled, and they start families and they become a better version of themselves. The men that are part of the church community, they become stronger and more powerful and more of a force of nature. The entire community should be uplifted just by the influence of the church. And it's not. It doesn't have a sense of purpose. Their purpose is just to exist. Their purpose is just to survive. And our churches have to have a bigger purpose than just existing and surviving if you want to attract the type of men that are going to be a great match for you. The last reason why your church is keeping you single, let's just to go ahead and talk about it. Your church is not providing an environment where men that you are attracted to and women like you can connect and start building healthy, lifelong relationships based on love. I know that there's a lot of programs out there and a lot of different denominations where they have singles events, but that's just not enough. Because what men want from a church community and what women want from a church community are two different things. Women, and I'm not a woman obviously, but I'm just putting myself in the mind of my sisters and my moms. Women want community when they go to church. They want to be seen, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. Women want to be seen when they go to church. They want to feel fulfilled. They want to feel love. Men want to feel love too. But women want things, and they want to experience things that make them feel more of a woman. They want to experience things in church that allow them to feel comfort around the challenges they're facing in life. When women go to church, they want to feel the presence of the Almighty. When women go to church, they want an opportunity to recharge and refresh their spirit. Men, when men go to church, they're looking for that sense of brotherhood. They're looking for that sense of belonging, that sense of identity. When men go to church, they want to leave church feeling stronger than when they walk through the door. When men go to church, they want to feel more empowered. They want to feel like they're motivated. They want to feel inspired to to solve problems that they weren't able to solve last week. They want to feel inspired to go after that promotion at the job. They want to feel motivated, and they want to feel secure in the fact that they have brothers that are fighting the same battles that they're fighting, and they're working on the same team as them. They want to feel like they're part of something great that is going to move society forward. They want to feel a sense of fulfillment and a sense of contentment when they go to church. Single men and single women, when you bring them together, they can have sister programs, they can have brotherhood programs. But when you bring them together, the event or the environment that you need to create when you bring your single sisters and your single brothers together needs to be an environment based on love. I'm talking about that all powerful, the type of love that lasts longer than a lifetime. I'm talking about an event that allows women to feel empowered to be who they are as a feminine presence, and an event that encourages men to be who they are as a masculine presence. There are some people out there who do dances, and I have no issue with the activity of a dance. There's things out there, there's organizations out there and churches out there that are organizing potlucks and different eating events. I personally think if you're going to create an environment for men and women to meet each other and start nurturing the type of love that is going to last longer than a lifetime, our churches need to start organizing events that are primarily centered on women that men can participate in. And then we need events that are primarily centered on the male experience that women can participate in. In that way, we invite men and women to be a part of each other's experience in different spaces. This allows men to get to know women in a place where women are feeling empowered. It's like going over to someone's house. You might go over to their house, you walk through the front door, and you can kind of see where they laid out everything. You kind of get a sense of who they are and what's important to them and what makes them feel comfortable. Similarly, if you're going to create an event where men can be a part of the women's the an event where women, if you're going to create an event where men can attend but the women feel empowered, you want to create a space where women are in the active role of either leading, administering, um, coordinating, being where women are featured in the event. And the men are attending the event to participate in a respectful manner in the women's activity. If you do this, this allows women to feel empowered and to feel strong and to feel good about making more connections with men that they may not know. They'll be interacting with men in a place of social strength, while the men are interacting in a place of being welcomed into their space. If it's a potluck that you have to create, or a dance that features women, or a ladies' night at the church, or maybe it's a concert, maybe it's a viewing or a show where the men are doing things that and men are learning how to, it should be a space where men are learning how to court women. Now, when you create an environment where the men feel empowered and the women are participating in an event where the men feel empowered, it's important to give the women tools that they need in order to interact with men when their men are feeling empowered. A lot of times it could be playing a game that's a physical game, like there's like tug of war, there's going shooting. There's a lot of different hobbies that men like to do that make them feel empowered. And it's just a matter of making sure that your women are able to engage with men in an activity without killing the magic of it, but they're able to engage in an activity where men are feeling empowered. In this way, the men who are single and are bachelors and the type of men that you want to be with, they're able to interact with men. They're able to interact with women in a way where they're able to experience joy. They're able to experience feeling strong and feeling powerful. They're able to feel independent. They're able to feel like they can make the first move without being rejected. They're able to feel like the social anxiety that it is typically goes along with trying to quote unquote pick up a woman. That social anxiety, that bar gets lowered because they're feeling empowered doing whatever the activity is. You can take them to a racetrack and go watch the races. You can to go watch the horse races. You can take them out to the shooting range. You can do a whole number of events that gets that testosterone pumping while also inviting the women to be part of the activity. And then obviously you can organize environments. You can create a space where men and women can have a dance, or a women where it's sort of equal. Your church needs a plan. I hope you learned this from the third section. Your church is keeping you single because they do not have a plan to bring men and women together who are single. They don't have a plan for you to find and nurture and maintain the type of love that is going to last longer than a lifetime, because they're not creating a space for you to find the love of your life. There's a lot of different reasons why I can point to why your church is not meeting the mark. But the fact of the matter is, it is happening. There is no reason why you, as a woman who believes in love, who wants the best for everyone, who wants to start a family, there's no reason why you on this earth, with all these single men out here, why you are not in a relationship and why you're not building a long-term relationship with the man of your dreams. You're going to church, you're doing the right thing, you believe in God, you believe in love, you're active in your community, you're good to your family, you're good to your friends. There is no reason why you should not be meeting a man, or why you're not in a relationship with a man that is the perfect match for you, especially when you're going to church. Now, let's talk about what you can do about it. A lot of churches, a lot of pastors will say, well, just come talk to me about it. First step, you can talk to your pastor about it. You can ask your pastor, hey, why is it that we don't have more men in our church? And is there anything that you can do to fix that? Give the problem to your pastor and to your church administration. The second thing that you can do is you take it upon yourself. You can go out and try to find eligible bachelors, whether you want to look on social media, which I probably wouldn't recommend that much, dating apps. You can check the local establishments and the third spaces that we have in our small towns and big cities. You can take it upon yourself to invite eligible bachelors to come to church with you. The other thing that you can do is you can work with organizations like partner organizations. You can engage with predominantly male clubs, whether they're clubs organized around hobbies or places that people have gone to for school. So, like school clubs and alma maters. You can engage with those clubs and create organizational partnerships and essentially curate an event where men who are part of that club can engage or can be a part of the church community. Last but not least, you can do it on your own. And unfortunately, I think a lot of women out there are going to have to do it on their own because your church is keeping you single. It's time for you to start learning personal leadership skills. It's time for you to start learning on your own how to create intimacy, physical and spiritual and mental intimacy. It's time for you to start finding your own community, building your own community of women and men who think like you, who believe like you, who believe that the type of love that moves mountain exists. It's time for you to join a community where everyone is working together to find, nurture, and maintain the type of love that is going to last longer than a lifetime. You know, love doesn't have a religion. Love does not have an income. Love does not have a demographics. Love is so powerful that it is above all of those boxes that we try to put love into. The love of your life, the person that you're supposed to spend the rest of your life with, is out there. They may not even know that you exist. And we cannot expect to find the person that we're supposed to be living the rest of our life with if we're not willing to speak up and start talking about the things that we believe, the things that we see, the ambitions that we have. How else is the person going to hear you speak? How else are they going to be able to see you if you don't put yourself out there, if you're not out there? How else are they going to get to know you as a person if you're not introducing yourselves to other people and making sure that you're becoming a part of a community? This is the place. I've seen so many things on social media, so many things in my life where I realize that there's not really a place where men and women who believe in love, who want to find, nurture, and maintain the type of love that is going to last longer than a lifetime, there's not really a place that I have seen where men and women who want love can meet. Back in the day, we used to think it was eHarmony. That was the best app because it asked so many questions and it was all about bringing people together. But we learned that eHarmony, once they got sold to private equity, it doesn't really do what eHarmony was supposed to do. There's no one dating app, there's no one social media app that is bringing people together that want to find, nurture, and maintain the type of love that is going to last longer than a lifetime. And the men and women out there who are going to church and who are trying to find the love of their life in church because they know God is love, those people are not able to find the person that they're supposed to spend the rest of their life with. There is no one place except here. On this channel, I am bringing together people who want to find, nurture, and maintain the type of love that is going to last longer than a lifetime. In this channel, I am creating a community where we are creating a safe space for people to feel vulnerable, where people to feel comfortable working on the skills that they need in order to have a healthy and happy relationship. We're going to practice communication here. We're going to practice giving each other inspiration and motivation. We're going to cut through all of the BS and tell it exactly like it is. It is time to confront the reality of our situation. The churches that we are going to are keeping us single, and it's time for us to fix it. That's my message for you today. I look forward to talking to you again in the next video.